Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Murray, and I'm the host of The Gift of Giving. This show, for those who are tuning in for the first time, features representatives from nonprofits, foundations, and 501c3s based right here in the state of Nevada. The aim of the program is to hopefully raise awareness of what these fantastic organizations do, and hopefully you'll be interested in volunteering in some of these causes. Uh, Today's guest is based in with our friends up there in Northern Nevada in Reno. His name is Derek Reed, and he is the president of the Nevada Peer Support Network here in Nevada. Hello, Derek. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
It's going to be a pleasure. I know it will be. And so, why don't you give us a little brief overview of the organization? I understand you were the founder, and when it was founded, and what the organization actually does.
Absolutely. So, Nevada Peer Support Network was founded in 2019. It is a nonprofit, and the mission is for us to serve those that serve. Our board is made up of all first responders that we support, which is firefighters, law enforcement, 911 dispatchers, military, hospital professionals, veterans, anybody in the warrior type culture. We always talk about the first responder being the 911 dispatcher and the last responder being the coroner's office, which are all in the field and exposed to trauma and horrific events that cannot be unseen, and they serve in that capacity. We do take on a lot of other people's traumas vicariously, and what we identified in 2019 is we didn't really know what resources were available to us to help those proactively or reactively. So we felt that there needed to be a better way. So the peers, which is kind of originated in the peer support model, there's trust built on the front end. And our mission is to vet and seek out resources that are culturally competent and trauma informed. So when somebody is struggling with something, we're able to kind of fill that gap and that bridge, if you will, to get those responders help. And that word help is a tough one with first responders because we are usually the ones helping. Uh, we
Yes.
don't we don't expose ourselves vulnerable, but very often because we're supposed to be the ones that are holding it together, no
Sure.
matter what is happening.
Um,
Um,
unfortunately, unfortunately, I think the public at large, we tend to forget that they're also humans like the rest of us, and they're not perfect. They try their very best under extremely difficult circumstances. Excuse me, and they do need help from time to time. So it's fantastic you founded this organization. But what actually prompted you? There's a lot of worthy organizations out there, as you well know, Derek, in the state of Nevada, that are accomplishing amazing things. And you found this niche that where there clearly was a void. What made you think of it or get it off the ground? It's a major accomplishment.
right. So we did just formalize in my department at Truckee Meadows Fire a peer support team. And we had the International Association of Firefighters come in and give a class and the understanding of it, but it was all theory at that point in the sense of for us, we never had anything bad happen. Once we kind of summed up our training and put our list of peer supporters, phone numbers, and everything at each station, we had one of our firefighters die by suicide, and it
Oh,
was an absolute shock. It completely gutted, the hearts and minds of the ones that were serving and continued to serve. By the way, we didn't go home for the day.
mm,
We were 24/7, 365, a day a year service. That's an essential service. So that really rocked our world. And as we started looking at some of the data, well, let me back up a little bit. The 3 days that followed that, because he, our firefighter wasn't declared dead until 3 days later, because there was a delay. He still had a strong heart, strong, blood pressure, but um, the event that took place was final. It just took some time, if you will. And we didn't know who to call. We didn't know who to call to support us. Yes, we had a peer support team. But once something happens like that within your own organization, you become ill equipped to support each other because you're grieving and in the shock and awe at the same time. So we had to call on nearby departments and agencies to come and support us. The problem is when it happens within your city, everybody knows everybody.
Yes.
And our firefighter in particular that died by suicide, everybody knew him. This was his third department. He kind of worked his way into larger departments as he went. He worked in the wildland arena. Then he went to a smaller department, and then he came to our department, which was bigger. So everybody knew who he was. So that made
Yeah.
it very difficult to navigate.
Yes.
Um,
I'm sorry that you and your friends in the town that knew this had to suffer that pain of the loss of a friend, especially under the circumstance of suicide. But his death is certainly, with the organization you formed since, it's a wonderful tribute and legacy to your friend, that firefighter that passed away from suicide. Now, your services, I think we had spoken before, and you said there's a new area that you're covering in this organization that's dealing with retirees. Did I get that correctly?
Yeah, so one of the identifiable factors within the proactive stance is to, once people retire from service, they spend a lifetime serving, and usually it's within their identity. It's not something they stumbled upon, and they function at this very high level of service. And once they retire, some find a unexpected void because they are separated from their tribe. We spend more time at the station, on an ambulance, in the hospitals, uh, with each other than sometimes we do with our own families.
Wow.
So that's a surprise sometimes when someone retires, and it's like, well, hey, this is not life anymore. So we had a phenomenal gentleman named Charlie Tabano, come to the Resiliency Center one day, and we had a talk, and he had some ideas on how to bring people together. It was an idea that he brought back from New Jersey, where he was a fireman there before he came here, and they had uh, a we'll call it a rehab unit for the sake of serving as an incident support function, meaning having hydration, nutrition, peer support at greater alarm fires. So there's a logistical challenge when we go to greater alarm fires because we're there for an extended period of time. There's usually weather factors, whether it's hot or cold, and traditionally in our area, we've been doing it on the tailboard or in the back of an ambulance that's got the doors wide open, and we rotate firefighters in and out. Um, and the amenities, if you will, the logistical support pieces are missing. So Charlie Tabano took it upon himself. He recommended us buying an ambulance with network funds to be able to start a group of retirees to serve at those greater alarm fires,
Wow.
and also providing peer support. And it's kind of twofold, if you will. They get to continue to serve those that serve. When they were in service, they were respected as senior firefighters, captain operators, so on and so forth. Um, so they get to kind of participate again on a different level, uh, but they also are seen by the younger generation and that are up and coming, and they can get peer support right there when they rotate off the fire line to go get. I'll give you an example. We had a 3 alarm fire here in Reno about a month and a half ago, and it was in the middle of the night, and it was cold. It was a cold night,
Sure.
um, and they came in. They set up a big tent that hides to it in an entryway. They had coffee going. They had granola bars and other nutritional snacks there. They had a propane heater inside the tent, uh, and the firefighters on the line that were on multiple floors on a high rise had to work until they were done. They couldn't just stop. They recycled, but they didn't rehab. So once the fire was under control, and I think that was about 2 o'clock in the morning, I was actually on this fire as a chief officer. I came down off of one of the floors and I walked down to the rehab unit that the peer support Charlie Tabano manages that program, and that the tent was packed with firefighters drinking coffee and hot chocolate, standing by the heater, warming their hands that some of them lost feeling in because it was so cold. Um, and we also had a porta potty, if you will, that was donated by one of the fire departments, and that was utilized by some of the female firefighters and male firefighters. But that's one of those amenities on greater alarm fires that go all night that typically is not available. Um,
Wow.
so so they had that. So they did a phenomenal job supporting those that were serving, and at the same time, giving purpose in that service.
Yes. And bringing the community together as well.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. While we can never repay our first responders for what they do, and I think everybody respects our first responders. And I think it's wonderful that your organization's paying tribute in such a meaningful and productive way. Now, I looked at your website, and originally I thought you just handled Northern Nevada, but I see that you also deal with Southern Nevada as well. Do you have a network that you partner with down in Southern Nevada?
So currently we do monthly meetings. We just started that up again, and we do a Zoom meeting with Southern Nevada and Northern Nevada peer support leads. And that's for the firefighters, the law enforcement group. Each service branch is somewhat independent of each other. We do support each other. However, we give the autonomy for individual department peer support teams to do their thing the best that they can do under normal circumstances. And then we collaborate together to vet clinicians, to programs, and we text back and forth on a string. So we're connected that way. We've talked about getting together and doing a mental health for first responders summit, either in Las Vegas or Reno. We currently do that with Fire Shows West. For the last 3 years, we've presented with culturally competent clinicians, wellness people, and myself, and we give talks to those that come about mental health and wellness, leadership, breaking stigma, what resources, how to build a team, whether you're small, large, or a medium-sized, fire department or law enforcement agency. Um, and then we kind of show them, look, this is how you network, and you have to network because, like I said, when something big happens within your own department, you don't have the mental capacity to support one another when you're grieving
Uh,
yourself.
Absolutely.
And
Can you
that's the
hold that thought? Sorry, go ahead. Finish your
that's the
thought.
reactive part. But we are shifting more to doing more work on the on the proactive side because that's where resiliency is built. And if we can build the resilience, it's almost like getting you're getting immunized against any kind of massive trauma. You'll still be affected, but not as much.
Yes.
And we find that a lot of that has to do with the family. um, and supporting not only the first responder, but the families as well.
Yes, sometimes they get overlooked. Please hold that thought for a second. We need to take a sponsorship break. And for those who are interested, those businesses who are interested in starting up a 401k plan, or individuals looking for retirement, one of our sponsors is Joshua Dowden from Lucia Capital Group. Please stay tuned and listen to his message. We'll be right back.
At Lucia Capital Group, we've been helping people manage risk and plan for their future through some of the most challenging market conditions. Volatility in the stock market will never go away, so it's really all about your strategy and how you react to it. Our bucket strategy aims to help you manage your financial goals even during the most uncertain times. I'm Joshua Dowden. I've been working with clients here for more than 16 years, and I can help you as well. My office is right here in the heart of Summerlin, just north of Charleston Boulevard. Don't let the stock market determine the quality of your retirement. Call me today for a free consultation. 702-508-6421. That's 702-508-6421.
And thank you, Joshua Dunn, for all the financial assistance you've given me over the years. And welcome back, Derek, from Nevada Peer Support Network. Pleasure to have you here with us. I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the programs that you have, because you have several according to your website. But one thing I noticed is it appears that your website and your program doesn't just benefit Nevadans, Northern Nevadans and Southern Nevadans. You have all kinds of videos and podcasts out there. You've got a book section where I scrolled on the book section. You've got all these self-help books that people can go. So anybody listening outside of Nevada that appreciates what you're doing and wishes they had something similar, we'll put your website up on the screen later on, but they can already go and listen to some of those videos, tune in some of the podcasts, maybe read some of those books. So it's nice that you've got those out there. But I saw some of the resources that you have. First of all, you have chaplains. Now, are your chaplains from across the board religions? Do you have somebody from the Jewish faith, the Catholic faith, Methodist, Baptist, and Latter-day Saints?
Yeah, so chaplaincy, I've gone through the chaplaincy program myself, and I'm very knowledgeable on what they do and what they don't do, and I'm very protective of the chaplains are vetted as well. We have chaplains that are first responders. We do have access to one chaplain that's part of Nevada Peer Support Network, and that's he was a fire chief for one of our. Well, he actually was a captain of mine when I worked for the city of Reno, and then he became a chief up at Tahoe Douglas, and he is very close to us, and the other chaplains that belong to that group, which is Great Basin Chaplain Corps, and they're a great resource for us. We've actually named requested chaplains when things happen. For example, the Care Flight Fixed Wing crash that happened almost a year ago today. Saturday is the anniversary date for that. They assisted us with the postvention efforts of that tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
But we do know that chaplains, they're there to be present. They're not there to evangelize. They're not there to convert you. They don't have to be the same religion that you are. They only pray with you if you request it. And their ministry is the ministry of presence.
Cool.
And they do a fantastic job.
Yes, and it's nice you have that structure and the guidelines as to what you want their purpose to be in this program. So you also have grief and loss programs. Do you have multiple programs, or is it one where you network on the computer, Zoom meetings, or how do your grief and support groups work?
Yeah, so I wouldn't call them our programs. I would call it strategic networking.
Okay.
The partners that we have and the people that we seek out those expert, subject matter resources are people that we know, that that we meet with, um, and we find out what those best programmings are. So when we have a peer come to us, or a lead that says they have a law enforcement officer or dispatch struggling, we have a list of options, a menu, if you will, because we know that not everything is going to connect with everyone.
No.
Uh, and so we kind of do a little bit of research, with confidentiality being, primary number one. And then we try to connect somebody. If it's grief, we do that. If it's PTSD, we have a list of options for that. I'll bring up a couple. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking, what an amazing network. I mean, it's vast. Your network's vast. Because I see you also had on your resources a separate one for military support groups. So you've
Mhm.
separated them. They have their own category and own assistance, I'm assuming.
Mhm. We do have an embedded social worker, Allison Pratt. She was at the Air Guard. She did some work there, and then she came and worked. Is now in our building at our resiliency center on South McCarran. She's fantastic, and she networks for us. And we have a equine therapy group that's called Horsemanship for Heroes. She's done a lot of referrals from her clientele um, to that group. She does second Saturday hikes all around Reno up here in northern Nevada, and she gets a pretty good uh, group of folks. And we're not talking just military; we're talking law enforcement, military, EMS. And the interesting thing is when we talk about military and veterans, our military and veterans, servicemen and women, are embedded in our service, warrior service, servant type occupations in the civilian world. That's just what they gravitate to when they're not serving uh, in the military and in a service branch.
Gee.
So we capture a very eclectic group, if you will, but the same, basically, it still falls under that warrior servant uh,
Hmm.
individual.
Yes.
We
Um,
do. There's one program I'd like to mention
yes.
that we do that's actually expanding, and that's our AA, Alcoholics Anonymous group, that meets every Monday at 6 p.m. at the Resiliency Center. And I'll tell you what, that program took a couple years to uh, destigmatize. I think we had 1, 2 people showing up to that program, and I think it was stigmatized. And when I would tell peer leads that, yeah, we're only getting like 1 or 2 people, and they were blown away. They're like, well, we have so many people that are struggling with addiction and alcohol. I don't understand. But we kept at it, and we kept it. You know, Elizabeth Mink, she's a fire inspector in one of our local counties. She's the secretary. She never gave up. And now 2 years, 2.5 years down, we're having to open up another day and time, which is going to be Friday at 10 a.m.
Goodness.
at the Resiliency Center, because it's working. The stigma is starting to break down, and people feel the safe place that the Resiliency Center provides, which was the intent. It's not in somebody's agency. No one's going to see them. They're not going to be in an AA program with somebody they may have busted a couple nights or weeks before. It is a safe place, a safe haven for first responders to do what we have a very difficult time doing, and that's saying that we need help. It's essential to have this space that we have for that
Yes.
reason.
Yes. But just shows that perseverance does pay off too. If if you keep at something long enough, it'll uh, eventually pay dividends. Hold that thought. We're going to have to take another sponsorship break, and I'd like to tell anybody, if you're looking for a good night out on the town here in Southern Nevada, please stay tuned for this sponsorship break. And also, if you're a small business needing capital to keep your cash flow problems at large or at bay, please listen to these messages.
Introducing Pacific Coast Capital, your partner in finance. We provide financing for your business. Speed, flexibility, and creativity are the foundation of our service. We'll help you navigate through change and opportunities. Our 90-plus years of experience ensures quick turnaround on loan decisions. Ride the wave to prosperity with us. Ready for new funding? Visit our website today at pacificcoastcap.com.
Country roads take me home to the place where I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama. It's a triple yodel.
And thank you, the Firelight Barn Dinner Theatre and Pacific Coast Capital, for your support of this program and what we're trying to accomplish here. And certainly welcome back to you, Derek. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us. I want to talk to us a little bit about your hotline. You have a hotline number, and we'll ask for that at the end of the program so we can put it on the screen. What if people from the outer state see your hotline and they don't know where to go and they actually call the hotline? Do you help them out, or do you refer them to a source in another state or a national hotline of some sort? How do you handle those calls?
I would say all the above, depending on what the questions are or what they've called for. We're not an acute call center. But we've gotten calls with a lot of different questions, fit for duty calls, calls that, have to do with, I need some assistance, but I don't know what it is. But if you're in crisis and you may think, you have an emergency, we either ask you to call 911 or many of the other mental health support numbers that we have on the website. There's a cop to cop if it's more relevant for law enforcement. There's Safe Call Now. There's suicide prevention. There's, fire crisis hotline. If you're a firefighter and you relate more to that, they even have a text, number that if you don't want to talk, you can text, your need for assistance.
Yes.
And then obviously you have a 988.
Yes. That's the sign of the times. Now people are texting, One time we just had phone numbers, and now there's websites, texts, and all kinds of ways of communicating.
There's lots of options, but we are a non-acute call center. When you call us, you're going to get peer support.
Yes.
And
that's your mission. Now, we did try and have the conversation last week, and you got called away. You were on duty that day. How does it work? Because you said you were on duty that day. Do you have shifts? Do you have a team of people that take on shifts on daily and certain times during the day and night? Are you 24 hours or?
We don't have that yet, but basically all the board of directors and those that would answer that line are also full-time first responders. So there is a message that explains that we all are volunteer. Wow. And if you leave a message or a text message, we will absolutely return your call within 24 hours. And like the prompt says, if you're experiencing a crisis, we encourage you to call one of the other national 24/7 crisis hotlines.
Gee. You've really established something. You and your board of directors, you've got an amazing operation there. And I did like your slogan that I saw on the website. Within unity, we find strength. And how true is that? I mean, your organization basically personifies that, doesn't it? It's the embodiment of joining together for a common cause.
Well,
Uh,
even Southern Nevada meets, because when crisis happened down in Southern Nevada, we always extend a hand and
yes.
reach into those guys. And one of the comments that came back to me based on one of those crises is, well, they said, well, I hate to admit this, but this is happening so often that we kind of figured it out a little bit, which is horrible. And I'd like to throw a statistic out there, and it kind of goes across all lines, military all the way to firefighters, law enforcement, is that, when we talk about the suicide rate, it is, one, highly underreported because it's not a mandated report. But the statistics that have been able to wrap our arms around, and other organizations as well, that number exceeds line of duty deaths. And ever since 2017, when they started kind of like figuring that out. And what that means is that because of our jobs, because of like you said, in so many words, is that we're normal people that do extraordinary work, and we see things that nobody will ever see in a lifetime, is that we become more dangerous to ourselves than our high risk occupations that we serve under.
Yes, yes, yes. That's a very profound statement and a very accurate one, I'm sure. Before we go, Derek, please tell us how do you get funded for all this work that you're doing? I appreciate it's all volunteers, but you still have lights and bills to pay and what have you.
It's a everyday consideration, and we strive to acquire private donations. Like I mentioned, Charlie Tabano, that runs the incident support group. He's at it every day. He says that he tries to write a letter once a day. His program in itself is about a $13,000 a year, venture to maintain that program. And like I mentioned, the Safe Place, which is probably aside from the peers, is the most important financial asset that we have, because it is the safe place. And currently, our lease, not including utilities, is about $30,000 a year just to maintain
Oh my!
our space.
Do you get any support from government grants? Does the state of Nevada help you out at all?
So we've talked to a lot of, I've talked to us to senators, and I've talked to a lot of people at the Capitol. Basically, the funding and the grant opportunities that are out there, a lot of them have to do with specific service branches, whether it's military, law enforcement, fire. But because one of our core values within the peer support network is inclusivity,
Yes.
we serve all of them.
Yes, you're an umbrella organization.
Yeah, so it's very difficult to get those grants because they are individualized. But and so private funding is what have accomplished to be able to get. Nevada Military Support Alliance has supported us greatly in our ventures, and and we just keep plugging away. Nobody's getting paid in our organization. We did give a stipend to one of our wellness people that is a civilian, and she provides mindfulness meditation, yoga, personal coaching, things like that. But other than that, nobody in our network gets paid or gets a salary. All the money goes back to the first responders, the programming, the peer support trainings, even the social worker that works under our roof. We don't we pay her when in specific situations. So
well, hopefully some of the viewers, or if there are any corporations tuning in, or some of our viewers, hopefully they will see fit to support your organization, because you're doing amazing work out there, can you please give us your website information, Derek, and your phone number where people can reach out to you?
Absolutely. So our website is www.nvpsn.org, and our phone number that you can reach up here on is area code 775-464-1797.
Thank you. And would you like to share with us your hotline phone number that we can put on the screen?
That's the one that I gave you, and then
that's the hotline.
yes, but at the bottom of the website page, you'll have a listing of all those phone numbers that are the 24-hour nationwide crisis hotlines. It's right next to our mission statement.
Wow. Perfect. John, thank you for the valuable service you're doing for our community. Thank you for founding this organization. Fully appreciate taking your time out today to be with us on this program and hopefully raise awareness of what you do. So thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure, Derek. And I'd like to thank our producer and station owner of WWDBTV, John Stiles, for affording me this opportunity to host this program and for producing it. I'd also like to thank our sponsors, Pacific Coast Capital, the Firelight Barn, and Lucia Capital Group, and my business partner, RJ Champion, whose message you'll hear right at the end of this program. And I'd like to thank you, the viewer, for taking time and tuning in. I hope you will go to this organization's website and see how you can support them and help them. They're doing an amazing work. And if you have any questions or comments on this program, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. My address is stephen@thegiftofgiving.vegas. And hopefully I'll hear from you. And hopefully we'll see you next week, where our guest will be Gene Payton from Blind Connection in Southern Nevada. In the meantime, please stay safe, be kind to one another, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Mr. R.J. Champion is proud to sponsor WWDB-TV's series, The Gift of Giving, and wishes the program much success. Congratulations and gratitude to the featured guests and the organizations they represent. Our community is well served by your tireless efforts to make Nevada a better state for all its residents.